Good afternoon and welcome to Common Ground. My name is Fernandito Bosa, your host today, sitting in for Sheriff Steve W. Thompson. Today my guest is Adreina Viera, who is here from the Viera Admin Solutions. And she's going to talk about a little bit about her business and her company. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me here.
It's nice to have you. Tell me a little bit about the company, the business.
So my name is Adreina Viera, and I am the founder of Viera Admin Solutions. We are a business solutions company that focus on administrative tasks. So I noticed that a lot of companies, a lot of small businesses and early stage entrepreneurs they tend to focus on building the company, but they forget about the back office work.
We all do.
Yeah.
We all get those parts.
That's usually the part where you check off last. And it's very important to always keep that part very organized in order to continue growing your business. And you might want to hire someone, you might want to hire an admin, but perhaps you don't have the revenue, or you might not need someone a full 20 hours or full 40 hours. So what do? You might want to hire someone such as VAS. This is a new business model that's been put in place. So, let's say you hire someone at 40 hours a week, a traditional business model, where you hire someone, let's say at $20 an hour for 40 hours. But then you have to think about, I have to pay them benefits. I have to pay them the payroll, taxes. You have to pay all these extra incurred, fees. It adds up. It's about 32% more. You have to include all these. You end up paying them $60,000 a year instead of the $40 that you would pay them at a $20 an hour.
Right.
But if you hire someone like VAS at, let's say,
I think I know where you're going. I think I know you were going only because we don't really talk about figures and cost, but it's more like what's more effective in efficiency and rather at a better low premium. You're still getting high-end quality services for less than.
Yes.
And you're not exceeding all these limits where you would have to then you actually would have to be reducing workforce.
Correct.
In order to be able to hold the capacity of those 40 hours plus.
Correct.
Or paying people overtime.
Yes.
And what your company does is actually comes in, does the expert work and all those, which we're going to go into the areas of the services, but yet they can do it in an efficient, short of time, yet for the sort of low cost that will cost a company that then they won't have to have, because it is the new way actually. You're right. And being the new company as it is the new way form of how companies are run today. It's less force, but yet still getting high end quality work, but reduce work compensations.
Correct. And it's done remotely.
Remotely, that was the other one. Remotely, so
Yeah.
you can do it from almost anywhere
Correct.
you are in the world. All right, so we got that part away. So
I'm getting ahead of myself here with the formulas.
yeah. So an example. A company that probably is already established, because most companies are already established, but yet they're looking to subsidize or cut down. Because of the high tech now that's come in, you mentioned remotely, which is very key in this conversation. People just can almost do anything from wherever they are in the world. They can run their business through, an iPhone or, iPad or a laptop. In those services, where would you begin? Which is like the first service that begins in offering your service? Where's the beginning? Because, you do have payroll, you have HR, you have, I would say, training models for the staff that are coming on board. I mean, there's just so many different departments and components that coming together to build the company as a whole from the ground, or staffed. But where does yours begin, and take us through some of the departments that they offer. Without mentioning the cost.
So, well, we have different levels. We have, email, calendar, and travel management.
Yeah.
That's level 1. Then we have the
But
book.
take me through that.
Okay.
So if you're going through level 1, so what is it like you said? So what would be travel like? What is calendar like? The other one.
And travel.
And travel, yeah. What would those be like? Describe a little bit of that department.
Well, like for
'Cause
example.
it sounds as easy, like just travel sounds like just as easy getting in a car going somewhere or just booking a flight.
Yes. So booking a flight might sound easy, but it takes quite a bit of time to try to just get the best flight.
Right.
And, do you want to go direct? Do you need to, is it just travel? Like you mean the airfare? Do you need a car? What about hotel? Is it one leg, 2 leg? Meaning, are you stopping somewhere? Like, is it just from Boston, New York, Miami? So it starts getting very complicated at the end of the day. And then it depends on who you're booking the travel for. One client might just travel once a year versus another client might travel 3 times a week. It becomes very time consuming.
So that's where the traveling part comes in.
Yes.
It's really getting you from destination to destination, making the accommodations.
Yes.
Whether it's first class, coach, or...
Correct. And one of the best values that we bring is time consumption. Our clients, what they're looking for is for us to help alleviate some of that time so that they can spend more of their time, in money generating activities.
Okay.
That's the importance.
Right.
Same as email. How long does it take you for you to respond to a typical email? How many spams do you get? I know there might be lots of services out there that can say, we can, fish out certain spams. However, how do you know how to answer to the true emails that you need to reply to? And once you do reply to those, how long does it take you to follow up to those emails? You meet someone at a networking event and you need to follow up to those prospects. That takes a lot of time, and the value that VAS brings is that time-consuming energy.
And actually, you're right on that. There are times, even myself, not having that type of service, but I will get emails, and the one that I mostly need is under like 15 that I don't need actually to read. The 15 I'm going to have to delete or at some point get back to them, but the most efficient, the one that I really need to pay attention to is under all those layers. So could we say that what your company will do is to actually literally put right above that main email that you're really waiting for, or the ones that are more important to you, those are the ones that you're getting directly, so everything else is sort of eliminated or put in a different box that if you ever want to go back into it, you can fish out, or
Yes,
if not.
correct.
So you're getting the most important ones that you need at the time.
Correct.
That's cool.
And for calendar, you never want to be in 2 places at the same time.
No. So calendars would be definitely setting your appointments.
Yes.
And I know that for me, for sometimes, it's easier when you can have something that you do either weekly or monthly or bi-monthly, because then you can just put it one time and add those. But try to do that on a weekly, a daily, or timely manner. It's a lot of typing.
Yes. And some clients might need a company like VAS just to set them up once, versus other companies might need VAS at a reoccurring basis. That's the good thing with VAS, and and our services and our admins.
Okay. So the travel, the calendar, and the emails.
Yes.
That's one component.
Correct.
That's one component. Let's go to the other component.
Okay. The other component would be payroll, bookkeeping, and accounting.
Okay. Now we're talking about funding, funds, and equity.
Yes.
And how do those break down?
So for each level, we have different certified admins, just to put it out there. So for bookkeeping, we have, an admin that's dedicated to that. For payroll, we're partnered with Paychecks. And for accounting, we have certified CPAs that we work for.
And all three of them, given they're all still in the sort of payrolls, just for the sake of word, are they all sort of in the same area, or is one different from another when it comes to tax preparation and things of that nature?
So everyone works together.
Okay. Okay. So in those areas, then you have someone who just dedicates himself to taking care of the payroll to pay the bills? Is that how it is? Or how does the payroll piece go? So it's just to pay the staff itself?
Both.
So it pays the bills and pays the staff?
Correct. Depends on the company's needs.
Okay. And that's specifically in that area?
Yes.
Okay.
And then we have a third tier, which is more into the project management and more logisticals, residential management. It gets more into the specifics, depending on the company's needs.
And how wide or how diversity does the company need to be in order for you to be able to take those services on?
Again, it all depends on the company's needs and whether or not we have an admin that can serve the company.
And I'm assuming it can be multilinguals or?
Correct, yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. We also offer translating services. So yeah, the opportunities are endless.
Yeah. And how does usually in the area that your company is based, you're either Worcester or where, Lynn or
Lawrence Lowell.
So Lawrence Lowell area, and give it in the area of Boston or Massachusetts as a whole, how is it your company would then reach out to companies or small businesses as a whole? Is there like ways that you're able to hold seminars or do business breakfasts, or how do they search for you? How do they find you? How do you find each other?
So because we focus on working, remotely, it's easy to work with, in many different regions. So even here in the Suffolk area, it's easy to have a connection and a partnership with this area. So easy just phone call, free consultations would work. I would be open to having like a business-to-business, consultation or a breakfast networking event in this area. That would be something I'd be open to discussion.
That's great. That's great. That's really good. That's really good. And give me a little idea, just a thought of what the mobile part, how does that work? How does the mobile piece works? Is it you're putting in a program, so then I myself, the business, I'm able to go into that program and visual and see, or is it I'm going into a site where then I can check my dues and balances and how does the mobile piece work?
So as far as the remote, you mean? So every client has a designated admin, and you work remotely with them. So you have an account. Once you go into our website, we give you a designated access where, you go in there, and depending, on which level you're in, you have access, and you go back and forth, and you see, your pending orders. So depending, whether it's accounting or travel, or you might have multiple layers within your account, you're able to access that. And every account has, you work with one admin. However, every account has 2 admins on each, just for quality assurance.
Oh, okay.
So you're assured to have multiple eyes on your, just to assure that each one of them is being taken care of accurately.
Did we miss anything?
No, as far as the, so we've spoken about the client part of it. As far as the admin part, we work with stay-at-home moms.
Oh, okay.
So, I like to bring that part of it, because when I founded VAS, as we call it, Viera Admin Solutions, I was really focusing on quality of life for my employers, and I wanted to have quality employers, but also give them quality of life. So they're qualified employers that, because of their lifestyle changes, are no longer in the full-time work
capacity.
Yeah. However, they're stay-at-home moms who they all have their bachelor's degree, and they work part-time basis. And I have a database of administrators that I just, depending on the client's need, I reach out to them, and they each have their own client base, and it's going pretty good. It reduces the carbon monoxide footprint because they work from home, and they have a really good work-life balance of their own.
Sounds good. So I'm going to move a little bit, and then if we can go back to that. But let's talk a little bit about what you were doing before you got into this business of your own. What kind of line of work were you doing? Because obviously, you definitely have an extensive background in admin. So let's talk a little bit about some of those things you were doing before you came on to that.
So I've been doing admin work my entire adult life. And the reason why I decided to do this was because prior to starting my own business, I was working at MIT, and I was helping coordinate a program called Start MIT, which is where they took the MIT students and they took them through this intense 2.5-week entrepreneurship program. And during this program for like 2-3 years, I would be in the back coordinating this program, but listening. And I would be listening to all these professors and high-profile guests talk about how to put your business together. And I was taking notes of my own, and I was just thinking to myself, well, I'm not an engineer, but what can I do? What's my talent? And I figured, okay, I am, an administrator. This is what I know how to do. So that's how VAS got started. But prior to that, I was working at Nestle, and then my mother got a stroke. And I left Nestle to care for her. I cared for her for 2 years. During that time, my son wasn't doing too well at school either. So I took him out of school and I homeschooled him as well. So I was a stay-at-home mom and caretaker. Once they were both doing much better, I put my son at a private school, and I put my mom at daycare, at an adult daycare. And I decided that I liked the healthcare industry because of what I had experienced with my mother. And so I started working at Dana-Farber. And there I was helping the doctors that I was working with doing some research. And at the same time, I was the administrator for the cancer genetics department. While I was there, my mother passed away. And so during that time, it was very difficult for me. Part of the research that I was doing was for cancer bereavement in the Hispanic community. And it was just too much for me to just undertake. So I decided I couldn't take that anymore, but I really liked the research part of it. So I applied to MIT, and I got accepted. They hired me. I say like if I'm one of the students.
That's good. That's good.
It was an experience like if I was a student. And I was part of the research. I was working as a research associate at the electrical engineering department. However, 2 weeks later, the executive assistant to the department had left, and I got hired to be the executive assistant there. And a month later, literally like a month and a half later, I got, they gave me the position of the events and outreach coordinator. So I just worked my way up, up the ladders. Yeah. So, and then after I was just running these entrepreneurship programs, I just decided that I needed to do it for myself. And here I am now talking to you about VAS.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So your mom's being in your life and your children being in your life, Was that part of your sort of inspiration? Who inspired you or made you kind of see that this is where you needed to be? Was there an inspiration moment where this is where you wanted to be, independent, on your own, given all the experience you had collaborated and picked up along the way? Or was it just a given? It just kind of came naturally for you? It just, you knew this was where you needed to be?
I think my children definitely are an inspiration. I feel that my mom, even though she's not here today, has always guided me. So it's all the universe together. Just I'm meant to be here.
Yeah, that's great.
This is definitely the route that I'm supposed to be. My destiny is to help others, and I feel that within VAS, my mission is to help other companies succeed, and I will succeed through them. And that's what we're here to do.
That's awesome. And I was going to ask you one more thing, because I know you mentioned, how this would be stay home for moms and part-time business. About childcare. Usually they're already home, right? So they're providing for the children. So there's no childcare needed, actually.
No.
But was that something that was taken, in mind as you were building this, that how you can make it so that childcare would be included?
Well, yeah, it was part of it, because once you're home, you're able to manage. Right. It's all a team effort. It all just happens. It's the package deal. Yeah. So
And are you hosting, conferences, or are you hosting seminars in these?
Not yet. I'm actually finishing up an accelerator program called E4All. That's based out of Lowell. Next week would be my last session, which I'll be doing a pitch. So I'm getting ready to finish that off, and once I'm done there, I'll be getting ready to start new things.
Right. Okay, great. So hopefully once those things do happen, you have to come back.
Yes.
Fill us in.
Yes.
Bring us some photos or videos.
Yes.
And fill us in with some of the good things going. But it's really been a really pleasure and refreshing to hear your story, because
Thank you.
It just shows, we're a mom, stay-home mom, startup business, after going through your educational as well as your grassroots job experiences, brought it all together, and here you are today. You're all one body. You're just doing it all. That's an amazing story. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, and thank you for sharing that with us. And that's Common Ground for now. We'll be back.